are places in America where the walls remember pain longer than the people who felt it. Hospitals meant to heal the sick became instead monuments to suffering. And when their doors finally closed, something stayed behind. Tonight, we walk through 4 of the most haunted abandoned hospitals in the country, and we ask a question that has no comfortable answer. What happens to all that pain when there's no one left to treat it? We begin in Louisville, Kentucky, at a place perched on a hill like a crown of stone. Waverly Hills Sanatorium was built in the early 20th century to fight tuberculosis, back when the disease was killing more Americans than almost anything else. The hospital was designed to hold a few hundred patients. At the height of the epidemic, it held over 400, packed into hallways and stairwells, gasping for air that never seemed to be enough. Death was so constant that the staff built a tunnel, 500 feet long, sloping down the hillside, so bodies could be moved out without other patients seeing the count rise. They called it the body chute. Locals still call it that today. Visitors who walk that tunnel now describe a cold that doesn't behave like cold should. It doesn't fade as you move, it follows you, settling into your chest the way the disease once did. On the 3rd floor, room 502 has its own legend. A nurse, who either jumped or was pushed from the window, her body found on the lawn below. People who stand in that room report the overwhelming sensation of being watched by something that used to breathe through tubes and now doesn't need to breathe at all. We travel north now, to Danvers, Massachusetts, where the ground itself seems to hold a grudge. Danvers State Hospital opened in 1878, an enormous Gothic structure with wings that spread out from a central building, like the ribs of some sleeping creature. It was designed using something called the Kirkbride Plan, a philosophy that believed architecture itself could cure madness, sunlight, symmetry, open air. Instead, Danvers became one of the birthplaces of the prefrontal lobotomy, a procedure performed on the hospital's patients by the thousands, patients who often had no real say in what was done to their own minds. By the 1960s, the hospital held over 2,000 people in a building meant for half that number. Former staff have spoken of screams that carried through the walls at night, screams that no medication seemed to touch. Most of the original structure was demolished in the 2000s, but the land was never truly cleared. Construction workers on the site reported tools disappearing, footsteps in empty corridors that hadn't been built yet, and a heaviness in the air that made grown men refuse to work certain shifts alone. From there, we go south to a valley in Pennsylvania, where a different kind of horror unfolded, one built not on disease, but on neglect. Pennhurst State School and Hospital opened in 1908 as a place for the developmentally disabled and mentally ill, and for decades it operated with almost no oversight from the outside world. Patients, many of them children who had done nothing more than be born different in the eyes of their families, were left in cribs for years at a time, without stimulation, without therapy, without hope of ever leaving. A television expose in 1968 finally revealed what had been happening inside those walls. Footage so disturbing it led to a lawsuit that helped end institutionalization as America knew it. Pennhurst closed in 1987, but by then the damage to those who passed through it could never be undone. Today, it operates as a haunted attraction each October, but staff who work there year-round, setting up in the quiet months, describe things that have nothing to do with actors or props, cold spots that move independently, doors that lock from the inside, and on the coldest nights, the unmistakable sound of someone crying in a language that isn't quite English. Our final stop takes us to the mountains of West Virginia, to a building so massive it remains one of the largest hand-cut stone structures in North America. The Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum, sometimes called Western State Hospital, was built before the Civil War to hold 250 patients. By the 1950s, it held nearly 2,000, and treatment had regressed into something closer to punishment. Patients restrained for weeks, subjected to ice baths and electroshock. Some locked away simply because their families found them inconvenient. One patient, a man believed to have killed his own family, was housed for years in a cage no bigger than a closet, a cage that visitors can still see today. Tour guides who lead groups through the building at night describe a presence they've come to call Jacob, a supposed former patient believed to have died in the asylum's basement. Visitors report feeling their arms grabbed by unseen hands, hearing their own names whispered from empty stairwells, and photographing shapes in doorways that no living person occupied that day. What connects these 4 places isn't just decay. It's the specific weight of institutional suffering, pain that was witnessed, catalogued, and then forgotten by everyone except the walls themselves. Hospitals are supposed to be where fear ends. In these 4 buildings, fear simply changed its address and it never check it out. If you ever find yourself standing in a hallway like that, in the dark, and you feel the temperature drop for no reason at all, trust that feeling. Some doors, once opened, never fully close again,